Hello, guys, and welcome. You're listening to Together Forever. Last time we just touched a bit on this idea of prevention being better than cure. We want to continue on that theme. Mandla, what do you have for us today?
Today we're talking about deliberate disrespect as a means of provoking a response. Last time we spoke about deliberate disrespect as a weapon. Today it's as a means of provoking a response. Sometimes as husbands we can be silent. We can be very minimal with information. The wife may ask you about certain things and you may not give a lot of information. We may be very sketchy. She asks this and you give that one-line answer. I don't know why, but sometimes as husbands we don't want to just give all the information there is. Maybe it's in our, I don't know, maybe it's the way we handle things.
I guess maybe it's a feeling of control, knowing that you still have that vital piece of information.
I don't know. Because
question.
Sometimes we can do that with insignificant things. And the wives, they keep on trying to dig for more information and we're very sketchy. And so they start ranting and raving and they become upset and so on, and they start jumping up and down trying to get us to give more information. And we can be very calm as husbands, can be very calm but very limited with the information that we give. And so they try and find ways of digging information out of us, of getting us to talk. And they start saying things that are designed to provoke us to talk, provoke us to give up more information. Sometimes they know that something should be happening. And you're quiet about what's going to happen. And so they try to provoke you to say something. They know that you have to be leaving in a week or 2 weeks' time to go to your family to attend to something. But you're quiet about the arrangements. You are not saying anything. And so they think, no man, but they start asking questions and you give one-liners. No, I'll attend to it. When? No, don't worry. And they have a sense that sometimes maybe are you hiding something or you're not taking this seriously? And so they try and find ways of digging and provoking us to give more information. And in the process of doing that, they realize, okay, fine, there's one thing that this is going to get this guy talking is when I give you a little dose of disrespect and he's going to fly off the roof trying to deal with the disrespect issue. When they do that, and of course we respond to the disrespect and they try to smuggle in their point. And of course it doesn't work because we will be very focused as husbands dealing with the disrespect. But sometimes they do that to try and get us to give them information. Sometimes something has happened. And they look to you for a reaction. They look to you for a response that you should be doing something, you should be saying something. And you don't do anything. You're very calm as a husband, you're very collected. And they feel, no, this can't happen. This just simply cannot happen. You receive a letter that says that you haven't paid and on your TV license and the SABC is going to start and take legal action against you, or this has happened, this company or this bank is having a problem with that account. You simply look at the letter, you read it and you're like, oh, okay. You put it aside and they're worried. And so what's going to happen? So you feel, so I'll sort this out. And they don't know, they don't see you sorting it out in time. And so as a way of getting you to do something, as a way of getting you to say something, they will disrespect us just because they know we will always jump on that. And they try and smuggle their point. Sometimes a child has been disrespected, has done something in the house, and they expect you as the father to do something. And you don't. Sometimes a friend, sometimes a relative has done something that she feels you should be responding to, you should be reacting to, and you don't. And as a way of provoking you to do something, they will say something that they know is going to make you mad. And as your anger boils and you start flowing with information and then they say, but then why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you say this then? And in the process, they try to get the information out of you. They try and get you to commit to a reaction that you are going to do something. And so you find that sometimes it's used as a tactic. Sometimes it is deliberate because they feel that as husbands, we're not being forthcoming with information, or we are not responding. We are too calm. We are too laid back. And so sometimes they feel that we are allowing people to walk all over us. We are allowing people to abuse our marriage. We're allowing people to abuse friendships. You understand? We are allowing people to misuse the fact that we are related to them. And they feel they want you to stand up for our marriage. Sometimes they want you to stand up for them against your family, against their in-laws. And they feel that you are there, you are not providing the necessary protection. And so they give it to you. They give it to you so that you can do something. So sometimes they do disrespect us deliberately to try and get us to do something, to try and elicit a response from us as husbands.
Maybe even to try to get inside our brains, because no one is a mind reader, and if you don't communicate whatever it is.
And sometimes you may be sitting there and you're moping as a husband, you're not saying what the problem is, and they want to find out what the problem is. And they sometimes, as a way of getting you to tell you eventually, say what your problem is, they throw all kinds of things that are going to make you angry. And in your anger, they will find a way of digging it out. So sometimes it's deliberate. It's calculated towards achieving that goal.
Okay.
Now, you may wonder, then what do we do in situations like those? Prevention, as we said the last time. One of the things we need to learn as husbands is to be proactive with information. We are not married to ourselves. It's true that sometimes our wives blow things out of proportion. Sometimes you tell them the whole picture and they just go off the wall, and sometimes their reaction, sometimes they're unable to handle certain information. Some husbands will notice that if you tell your wife your complete financial situation, she will not sleep. You wake up 2 a.m., she's gazing, looking, and then she keeps on waking you up and saying, but what are we going to do? Where are we going to get money for this? So you find that she's unable to handle that because she's always miserable, she's always worried. And so you feel as a husband, sometimes it's wise not to give her the whole picture, not to tell her everything. You need to understand you're not married to yourself. You need to find a way to communicate with your wife, who is an equal in this marriage, equal partner in this marriage. You need to find a way to give her the information that she needs. And it helps, I have discovered, to be proactive, not to wait until you're asked questions. Because when you wait until you're asked questions, it's going to feel like you're being interrogated, and nobody wants to be interrogated. Be proactive. Give out the information. And in certain instances, if you feel you can't give up the whole picture, tell your wife, look, allow me to deal with this. Just trust me on this one. But she must have a sense that when she comes to you, she can get the information. If we are proactive, if we easily give the information, she will not need to dig it out of you as a husband in disrespectful ways. If something has happened, she will not start out with disrespecting you. She will start out by telling you to do something. And whenever they ask us to respond, if you're going to respond, respond. If you're not, explain why you are not. Tell them that you're not going to respond. If they feel like and somebody in the family is abusing the relationship, talk to them. Tell them why you think it's not. Sometimes as husbands, we allow situations that we also see as abuse of relationship because we feel indebted to certain people.
Okay.
You find that someone who is a relative, an uncle or an aunt, sacrificed something and probably put you through school, or for a year or so, kind of helped you out when things were rough at home, and you feel indebted to that person. And so even though the person may somewhat be abusing the relationship, you may know that, but you may feel you don't have the heart to cut it off. Tell her. It doesn't make you appear as a weak man. We all have people who we have those emotional obligations to. You're not forced to, but you feel obligated. Sometimes it may be a brother or a sister. You both went to school. They probably decided to drop out of school, or they may not be as successful as you are. And sometimes when you listen and talk to them, they may have a sense that, your parents were always easier on you than they were on them. And you feel a sense of, sympathy, Sometimes it may be a sense of guilt because you can look back and maybe see one or two incidents when maybe something like that, you can, okay, fine,
was the case.
Maybe the parents did do that. And so when this brother keeps on coming back and loaning money and not paying it back, as much as you should be cutting it off, there's something in you that says, just one more 100 rand. Tell the wife. Let her be angry, but let her understand that this is the situation.
Speaking of communicating with our wives, I remember we were planning a trip, so I thought I was keeping my wife informed with the progress. So after some time she was like, "You're not telling me anything about the trip," and I was like, "No, I have. just like you said, I actually remembered the different things I told her, and when I told her, she's like, "No, don't tell me things like I'm one of your boys. I'm your wife, and tell me things, in detail." And then I realized that, wow, maybe I wasn't giving information as I thought I was. So, you having said that sometimes we withhold information made me think of what my wife told me, and it is so true. Sometimes we think we're communicating, but it's very shallow and
we're not detailed enough. We don't go into. Sometimes there's a challenge with the finances, and we say, okay, we're supposed to go, but there's something that I'm going to sort out. The tickets are not ready, and then she wonders why. And you don't go into details that there's a problem with this credit card. You need to go and meet with the bank and and so you don't go into all those details because you may feel they're unnecessary. But to them, they are necessary. It gets them to see the picture, to understand where things are. So let's learn to communicate with them.
That's true.
And let them know if you're not going to do something, explain why. Now, I understand as husbands, we struggle to have reasons. We struggle to have reasons because sometimes we feel a certain way, not because we have a reason, but it comes from somewhere. And it doesn't have a reason, but you feel that way anyway. Tell her, because even though she may be upset, she will understand. And the beauty of her being upset but understanding is that she doesn't get to disrespect you as a way of provoking a response. You can deal with her being upset. It becomes an incident, an issue that you're dealing with now, but you're able to move on from it. But once she starts disrespecting you to get information or to get you to respond to certain things, then you have more than one problem. So yes, our wives do disrespect us deliberately in order to get a response. But if we communicate with them, if we tell them if we give the information, if we explain to them what we are going to do, if we move as husbands, if we act, if we do something, if they can see us being active and proactive, we can avoid a lot of that disrespect as a way of provoking a response.
All right. Sadly, Mandla, we're out of time. Guys, remember, prevention is better than cure. If we just communicate, just open up and give details, even those that we think are necessary, you'll be surprised at the world of difference that will make. Until next time, I'm Dumisani Mfune.
And I'm Mandla Lupondwana.
God bless.